And, just so many names. When I came in my first year, things was not going right. I think I wanted to bite off too much too soon, and I didn't have the experience. I was just too tensed up, and really that took away my concentration off the football, and then that caused drops, and it was something that never happened to me before.
It's the one ball that I didn't catch that haunts me.
As a professional athlete, you're really afraid of failure. That one play will always linger with me. You can't forget something like that. That one play probably going to stay with me the rest of my life. It was no one close, and I knew I had a sure touchdown. So I was pumping my arms hard, and the ball just jumped out.
The ball, it's out in front of him, rolling the goal line. He scrambles for it. I think the Giants may have recovered in the end zone. We'll see. Rice had a touchdown in his hands.
That's a shame because we got such a good shot of that, too.
Yeah.
We got in slow motion, and I know you're going to talk about the ball squirting out of your hand.
It was just rolling on the turf, and here I am. I'm chasing the football, trying to get on the ball, and I think that one particular play just really changed the entire game. So that really taught me in a situation like that not to relax. You got to finish, you got to finish the play. You got to cross that goal line before you relax. You should never let yourself forget it. But it also taught me a lesson, and I think I'm a better football player now.
In the 1970s and early 80s, wideouts increased their odds of making a catch by using a thick, gummy paste.
Stickum was great. You could put a thin coat of Stickum on your hand, like this. You could do this and lift the ball up.
I know this might be a little illegal, guys. I just put a little spray, little Stickum on them, just to make sure that texture is a little sticky.
Stickum, along with all other adhesives, was banned by the NFL in 1981.
Hall of Fame wide receiver Jerry Rice, who played in the NFL from '85 to 2004, admitted on Saturday that he used Stickum during his playing career, which is a small problem because Stickum and other adhesives have been banned by the NFL since 1981. Rice tweeted the following Saturday night. I apologize, people. After doing my research about Stickum, the NFL banned this in 1981. All players did it. Hashtag equal playing field. Well, Hall of Fame receiver Cris Carter, our colleague who played from '87 to 2002, sent out several tweets over the past few days indicating that he strongly disagreed with Rice's accusation that all players used it. I never used Stickumgate, and Jerry Rice isn't speaking about me or for me. God made my hands. He put Stickumgate on them. Never a need to use anything but my God-given talent, and perfected with a jugs machine. If he used Stickum, JR, referring to Jerry Rice, was cheating. Stephen A. Smith, what's your reaction?
First of all, I know both. So in the interest of full disclosure, I'm friends with both. With that being said, Cris Carter was absolutely right to come to the defense of himself because Jerry Rice can't speak for Cris Carter. Jerry Rice can only speak for Jerry Rice. Jerry Rice doesn't know what everybody was doing. And Cris Carter being a Hall of Fame wide receiver, it was entirely appropriate for him to step forward and to say with the vehemence that he said it, that no, everybody didn't do it because I certainly did it. He came to his own defense and he was right to do so. The other thing is I find this incredibly unfortunate because Jerry Rice is universally recognized as the greatest wide receiver in NFL history, although my man Skip would put Randy Moss up in that category.
And Michael Irvin.
Neither of whom used Stickum, by the way, and both of who prided themselves and believed they were better than Jerry Rice. So Jerry Rice's stature may very well be hurt by this because if you're a Randy Moss or you're a Michael Irvin and your attitude is like, you're like, I didn't use any Stickum, well, then you weren't assisted. The other argument that could be made is that people make the point that if this were a baseball and it was an issue of pine tar or something like that, it would be a national story. So why is this being, quote unquote, figuratively speaking, swept under the rug? Having made that argument, that's a very valid point, which unfortunately puts Jerry Rice under the spotlight in a very negative fashion. In 1981, due to Lester Hayes using it excessively, the Stickum, the spray, and all of that stuff was banned by the NFL. He is acknowledging that he used it anyway. If you are acknowledging that you used it anyway, you're acknowledging that you openly defied and circumvented the rules. That is not something that Jerry Rice is known for doing.
Did you add to your gloves the tackiness?
No, I don't think so.
You don't remember putting any Now, you're on record as saying you added a little tackiness.
Well, did I put a little adhesive spray on those gloves at that time? Yeah, I did.
Yeah. When you combine that with the fact that one of the things that is untold and very rarely, if ever, gets mentioned, Jerry Rice was one of those ultra and ultimate competitors. Guys recognize and still give him props for being the best because he ran the greatest routes. He had the hardest practice habits. He worked his butt off catching bricks from his dad growing up and stuff like that. But they also said he was never inclined to help anybody, to work with them, to help make better receivers. They considered him incredibly, incredibly selfish. I bring that up because now that this has happened, it wouldn't surprise me at all if guys came out of the woodwork to try and hurt somebody's reputation that is universally recognized by us all as the greatest wide receiver ever. It's unfortunate. I wish Jerry Rice luck in dealing with this matter. I'm sorry that he has to deal with it, but he opened his mouth and opened the Pandora's box that I'm not sure he's going to be able to shove aside.
I also know and like Jerry Rice very much personally, but he is coming across right now as a towering, all-time hypocrite for blasting the Patriots for, to quote him, point blank, I feel like it was cheating against, obviously, the Indianapolis Colts. And he said that in that game, the Patriots had a decided advantage, even though the balls were legally inflated, obviously, at halftime. So Jerry got caught. He got backed into a corner, and he reached for the I didn't know it was a rule excuse, which is a little hard for me to believe.
Are you at all suspect of what the Patriots have done over the years? And is it wrong to question what they've done?
Well, they always say if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. So they're trying hard.
Where is the line? How difficult is it to know where the line is then, I guess, between gamesmanship?
They have this thing that's called the rule book. When you step outside the rule book, you're fudging with it a little bit.
Did you guys ever step outside the rule book? I mean, Jerry has said, hey, I use stick 'em every now and then.
Everybody, like I said, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. It's just it's a game. Right? Everybody wants to win, and so you do whatever you can to make it happen.
He was covering his gloves with Stickum. So not only did he wear gloves, which gives you a little better grip, he is just, and there's some images of them on the internet that you can see. They show the gloves up close. They were absolutely just caked with Stickum, both gloves. And then he got further pushed back into a corner, and he said he reached for the everybody is doing it excuse. Well, Chris Carter called him on it. Nope, I wasn't. And you say that Randy Moss and Michael Irvin were also not using Stickum. I didn't know that. Is that?
That's what I was told.
Okay, good.
I didn't speak to them about that.
Fair enough. But I don't know that Michael Irvin used Stickum. I covered those teams. Maybe I missed it. But my point is, Jerry was throwing stones from a glass house, to quote biblical scripture. You know, like that's what you're doing, because you were living in a glass house because you were cheating. And I can make the case that Jerry Rice using illegal Stickum on his gloved hands gave the San Francisco 49ers at least as much of an advantage as allegedly the Patriots have gotten from slightly underinflated footballs. At least as much advantage, since he was, by all accounts, the greatest receiver of all time and the driving force behind 2 of Joe Montana's Super Bowl victories, and then he went on, obviously, with Steve Young. So the Patriot fans are screaming bloody murder here because he looks like such a hypocrite.
There's no question about that, and that's unfortunate because, I mean, you know, I like Jerry Rice personally. I know you do. We know his work ethic, his greatness is not to be questioned.
No.
But when you are so ultra competitive that you're perceived as an individual who never reached back to really help guys, your contemporaries, meaning other wide receivers, you know something like this, guys are going to come out of the woodwork and say, wait a minute, you sat there and snubbed your nose at us and you were doing this?
Yeah.
They're gonna be all over him, and I find that unfortunate because Jerry Rice is synonymous with greatness.
Yep.